And joining us right now, great to welcome one of the artists that we're featuring on the program tonight, a great new CD, album out called the Osmond Chapman Orchestra. There's more where that came from. We're joined today, of course, by the singer on that album, David Osmond, and he joined us by telephone from out in Utah today, and the name sounds familiar. Of course, he's from the great Osmond Entertainment legacy, but he joined us tonight to kind of chat a little bit about this big band album. The Contemporary Big Band Swing Project is the name of the group that he is with. And David, pleasure to talk to you. How are you?
Blessed beyond measure. I could say it's the best day of my life. I'm doing well, but every single day, and that sounds like a bumper sticker, but dude, I totally believe it. I'm living it.
Well, we'll get into that a little bit later. I know you've been dealing with some issues with health, but you sound great, and in the picture on the album, you look good, so God bless you for that. I know it's a daily battle for you.
And it is for all of us. We're all dying, aren't we?
Yeah, well we're going to wind up in a good place, hopefully, someday. So we have to look at that
way,
right?
Doug. Amen to that. Absolutely. So we enjoy each and every moment, and truly my life has been surrounded by music. It's been that extra language, that extra boost, and life is full of joy because of that. And it sounds ethereal, but it's awesome. And this project in general has been such an amazing experience so far, and we're just excited to share that music now with everybody else. So thank you for allowing us to come on and share it. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad Dan's been a friend of the show for a long time and gave us the heads up on this with the the PR notice, and of course the big bands. I've always been a fan of that. I've been doing a show playing that type of music since college days. So anytime there's a new big band type of album out, I'm happy to promote it, whatever I can do to promote it. So
oh my goodness,
thank you for doing it.
Small world, huh?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Thank you so much. And Dan is the man. We're so fortunate to have him. No pun intended. But he is fantastic, and I'm so glad that you guys have that connection. I'd love to hear more stories sometime. Yeah,
he's been kind of giving us some great guests for a long time. But well, let's talk about the big band aspect of it. Obviously, back in the 30s and 40s when it all started, that was the music, and it's really been continuing since then. Kind of comes and goes in popularity, unfortunately, or at least where you hear it on the radio. But you're kind of keeping it alive. And how'd you come to this project?
Thank you so much. And truly, the big band sound, the American songbook is, it sounds cliche, but it truly has an audience everywhere from 12 to 92. I grew up around a ton of music. My dad is, you're not old enough to remember the Osmonds, but.
Oh, sure. I remember them.
But I just assumed every kid's dad did this thing called showbiz, and toured around and recorded and wrote songs and everything else. So it was, I fell into the business before I knew it was a business, and so fortunate to do that because it opened up so many more opportunities and ideas and experiences that I never would have had otherwise. So I started at a very young age in many different fields and capacities in music, at the barbershop quartet, to the boy band with my brothers, and touring over the world, signed with Epic Sony and Curb Records. I experienced cool things, had our own family theater in Branson, Missouri. You did the 2 shows a day, 6 days a week grind, but it was awesome. And then touring around, I fell into the Broadway world where I was picked up as Joseph in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Right.
I took over for my Uncle Donnie actually in that role and played Joseph for about 5 years. And so getting that opportunity, doing my own pop music and so on. But the big band, going back to it, that crooner sound is just, it's timeless. And my very first cassette tape when I was a little kid, just a little boy, my dad got me, was Frank Sinatra.
Oh,
and it was That's Life. And I was hooked. I was immediately, that's what I cut my teeth on, was those early songs, the Bobby Darin, the Frank Sinatra. It was engaging. It was captivating. And I'm just honored to be able to share the stage with Caleb, who is the consummate professional who knows his stuff. He leads the band, and we just have such a good time performing, especially those live shows. There's nothing like it.
Caleb Chapman, I should mention for the audience, who put this with you and works on the band for you. So we want to mention him. We'll hopefully talk to him at a later date. But yeah, I think you and I similar in a sense. We weren't in that era, obviously. We were born later, but I grew up in New York listening to a radio station, WNEW. I don't know if you ever heard of that station. And of course, my parents had the albums. They were a little older parents when they had us. So I was exposed to it earlier like yourself in a different way, but that's how I kind of got into it.
That's fantastic. It's so cool. I love those stories. And it sounds like you got that voice for radio, man. This is like, you're built for this. So you gravitated to radio and entertainment at a young age, I would imagine. Is this something that the big band inspired you in your career and everything you've done?
I actually did it in college radio when nobody was really playing it. So I would get kidded a lot. Went to college in Long Island at Delphi, and but they it was good naturedly. But yeah, I did a show called the Big Band Sound back at a Delphi University's radio station. So it was 2 hours a week, and I kind of patterned it after WNEW. That's the station I grew up on. But yeah, I've always had an interest in it as a. I didn't nothing against the pop music of the time. I enjoyed that. I grew up in mostly the 70s, sure. But this is the kind of music I've always enjoyed, like and Sinatra and the Singers too. I mean, that's really been it. Ella Fitzgerald, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly right. That is awesome. Well, WNEW, congratulations, man.
Yeah, you grew up out west, so you didn't get a chance to hear it. That station, I mean.
But you're one of the OGs. I mean, you gravitated toward, you shared it, and even though you said got made fun of, I guarantee those peers that maybe made fun of you are still listening to it, and they're listening to it and enjoying it now.
Well, then all the rock and roll people eventually got into it. Remember Linda Ronstadt, those albums she made in the early 80s with Nelson Riddle, and then later on Rod Stewart, and just about everybody in rock and roll, the big names, made albums of the standards.
That's exactly what Rod Stewart. I mean, but everyone wants to be Tony Bennett. Everyone wants to be Frank. Everyone wants to do those things, And I wanted to be Harry Connick Jr. when I was a kid. Like that was my idol.
Oh, sure.
I loved. I mean, the New York big band concert he did. I mean, I have it on VHS as a kid, and I just wore it out, and I still watch it. I just think that this is the coolest thing ever. I just love it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the songs on the album. Of course, you have really a great mix here, like we talked about, great standards, but also some more contemporary songs done in a big band style. I always like when people do that as well, because you don't hear it. You might hear the song in a different way, and it might be more entertaining for people to hear a newer song in a big band style.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, our single that's out right now, "The Way You Look Tonight," everyone's heard a version of it. Everyone knows the song by heart. What our goal was to do, what in our minds was the new American songbook, where there's so many incredible standards. There's fantastic songs we all know and love and cherish, so we want to respect and hold those sacred. But if we can do a fresh arrangement to it with some incredible talent, or do a new take that's kind of that hasn't been heard yet on those classics, and then take some songs of today that we feel are just awesome songs that could be part of that American songbook, and that we can put a big band arrangement to, and jive really well between the two, all the different decades. That could be awesome. And then introducing even original songs, new songs that you may not even realize weren't part of the American songbook, but it fits right in there. Where we have our own voice, our own writing, messages that we want to convey. I did an interview not too long ago, and it was cool because the stamp of approval came from this individual interviewing us and saying, I listened to one of those original songs, and I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if that was like an Elvis song or if that was original Frank or whatever it was. And I thought, there it goes. That's exactly what we wanted to accomplish is to honor the American songbook, but kind of that 2.0, the new American songbook, and expand the horizon of what that big band sound is. Even myself as a singer, I mean, I recognize that I came from many different backgrounds of performing, whether it's the Broadway, the pop, or what have you. And from my singing, it's not, I openly admit, it's not going to be that purest form jazz singer. But what Caleb brings is that awesome arrangement. These musicians are the best in the biz.
Yeah.
They're incredible. And the arrangers are the same ones that would do the arrangements for Michael Bublé or what have you. And Caleb used to be, for many years, the president of the Jazz Education Network. That's his background. He's also in the background of decades of training and educating young individuals to learn music and to learn their instruments, whether it's sax or trombone or bass, drums, keys, guitar. And so we have access in a very cool way to be able to have as part of our band in those instrument placeholders amazing young musicians that are in their mid-20s that are just phenomenal. And they're not just unbelievable musicians, as you can hear on the record, but they're performers. So when we go and do our live show, they're not just behind the band front. They stand up, they dance, they move, they got the energy, and it's the quietest show, man. It's awesome.
I was wondering, musicians, like you said, these aren't guys that played in the 30s and 40s. These are young musicians you're getting now. But thankfully, I guess music schools and even high schools are at least exposing them to this kind of music so they get into it, right?
That's exactly right. But we do also, because of some of our friends in the business and those that are playing, we have a couple of ringers. As we were recording the album, we have the full band in the studio, and it's just an awesome vibe.
Yeah.
But we also had some ringers that came in to play. Rashawn Ross from who plays trumpet, just amazing, from Dave Matthews Band. We've got Carl Hunter from Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, who stepped in with his tenor sax and played a solo here. And so there's an unbelievable talent. Dave Coffin came in as well as to play. And so there's really unbelievable top talent you could ever find playing alongside this young, fresh talent. And man, they gel so well. And I hope you can hear that on the record. It was a cool experience.
I just want to mention, you talk about the standards on the album. You go from a song like "Fly Me to the Moon," great standard people know. "Smile," another one, Charlie Chaplin. "Over the Rainbow," of course, from Wizard of Oz, and then to the more contemporary songs, Bruno Mars song, right, "When I Was Your Man," and one that you wrote as well, right, "I Need a Real Good Thing." So you really have a wide gamut, yeah.
And I'll tell you what was really cool is when we're in the live show format. And you're vibing off of that energy of the music. And I have the best seat in the house, the front row seat, to see everybody else. And when they gel with that music, especially on those originals, like for example, "I Need a Real Good Thing" in a Real Bad Way, that we wrote with Roger Brown. It was awesome to see the reaction. We almost get one of the best reactions from that original song. It's kind of a call and action song. But you can feel people just getting up and dancing in their seats, man. They're moving and they're yelling back. It's just a fun vibe. "We Might As Well Fall in Love" is one of those songs. It's like one of those cute back and forth, but it's one we wanted to make feel like it could have been part of that original American songbook. And when we sing it in that live setting, it really gels and it feels like it is.
And you also go to the country route. You got, of course, the great Johnny Cash song, right? "Ring of Fire." I like how you did that one.
"Ring of Fire." Oh, my goodness. And we upped the BPMs, the beats per minute. It is fast.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
It is smoking. And that's what we wanted that song to be, is a version of "Ring of Fire" that isn't just a cover song. We don't want to be a cover band. We want to be, we want you to feel the originals. We want you to feel the originality of those arrangements. And the vibe of my voice with what Kayla brings with all the musicians and the arrangements together, we think we've got a real good thing.
I should say this is put out by Club 44 Records, right? That's based out of Nashville, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah, Club 44 Records, and their focus is on American Songbook, and they get it. They love this genre. They're passionate about it, and to have a team like that who's passionate about that sound makes all the difference. And they've got, they're in Nashville, but they've got a lot of people that are working with them that are coast to coast, from Florida to New York to Washington to California. So they're all over, and they're a great team to work with. We're thankful to have them. And this distribution is going through Universal and also through Sony. So you got the physical through Sony and digital through Universal. So it's the best of both worlds.
The single came out, "The Way You Look Tonight," a little bit earlier as we record this on May 7th, but the full CD or album or download, whatever, comes out on June 4th, right?
That is correct. And get this. This is awesome. I'm stoked about this. On June 4th for our album release party, we have the band together, and we got a lot of friends from California coming to sit in that band as well. Some of the same ringers, like I mentioned, Rashawn Ross and Carl Hunter, going to be sitting in the band, playing with us. And we're doing our concert at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, wow.
In Pasadena. And we're playing right before Earth, Wind, and Fire takes the stage. So it's going to be just a party that night.
I was just going to ask you then, so you're back doing gigs then?
As much as possible.
Yeah.
Still, we're irking back in.
Right.
The entertainment industry might have, I guess, maybe been the least essential industry during the craziness.
Yeah, right.
But I think the audience is just so anxious to get back in the seats. I personally, as a singer as well, I just wrapped up this last week or two a production with Andrew Lloyd Webber, the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber, doing shows and things. And even though the houses, the performing arts centers, might have been at 50% capacity because that's all they would allow to be able to spread out and stuff, we're coming back. Even in Vegas, which has been devastated. So many markets of the entertainment industry have been just decimated. It's coming back. In fact, my uncle Donnie, he's starting a residency at Harris.
I saw that, a promo he did on YouTube.
The end of August.
Right, great.
Yeah, he's coming back as well. And I also perform a lot with Marie. I go on the road and I'll be here like a guest artist when she does these symphonic shows. So we've already had a couple of shows going and a couple more coming up real soon. So the entertainment industry is coming back. and the audiences are just begging for it. They're loving it.
Well, that's great news. I haven't been out in Vegas in a couple of years, so I got to get back out there once. I was going to go last year, but couldn't, obviously. But looking forward to going out and seeing, hopefully, you and seeing some great shows out there. But
yeah, well, let me know when you
news.
get out there, and yeah, it's a fantastic town, and my family, of course, Donnie and Marie had their show almost 12 years at Flamingo.
I didn't realize it was that long.
It was
okay.
a second home.
Wow. Yeah.
11 and a half years they were there. And I had the privilege many, many times to step in and fill in for Donnie if he was out on a show and come in and fill that void. And Marie would do her show, and I'd come in to do some numbers with her. And it was an awesome showroom and a great run for the two of them. And just, I'm excited for Donnie to get back in Vegas.
How is that when you have a residency? I mean, you've been part of it, obviously. Is that 2 shows a night, 6 nights a week? Is it it's almost like Broadway, isn't it? Or maybe even more than Broadway?
It's just like Broadway in Vegas. It was a little bit different for Donnie and Marie with the schedule that they had. They would do 1 show a night, and they would do it 5 nights a week. So they do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
so that's
Saturday,
not too bad. Yeah.
Off Sunday, Monday. Not too bad. And they wouldn't even do it full, not the 52 weeks. They do probably maybe 30, 36 weeks a year. So they had time to be able to do other projects and be with their families. Donnie still lived in Utah, so he would commute down for the shows. Marie was living in Vegas to make things easy. But yeah, it's hard work. When I was like I mentioned, when we had our own family theater, I was used to doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
So it was, and sometimes even more than that. And it's fun. It's nice when you don't have to worry about the travel. You don't have to get on the bus. You don't have to get on the plane. You don't have to go to the hotel. You can stay in one spot. So that's always a nice thing for the entertainer.
Yeah. Well, I run the holiday time. I always flip on YouTube or whatever, and you see the old Andy Williams shows with your dad on there. I guess you probably have seen them hundreds of times as well, but it's fun to watch those with your brothers and uncles.
Emma was a trip too. Even this last couple of years, occasionally I would get a call from an uncle, and the youngest Osmond, my uncle Jimmy, he actually owned. Has owned and still does the Andy Williams Moon River Theater, which is in Branson.
Oh, he owns that now. Okay.
Oh, great. Yeah, so said, David, can you come in and can you help me fill in the Christmas show, do this run or something? So just even recently, the last while for little stints at the Christmas season, I go in and actually fill in and headline the Christmas show at the Andy Williams Theater. I'm holding Andy's mic.
Oh, wow.
I'm introducing the Lennon sisters, like
sure.
Crazy. I'm watching everything I've seen on YouTube, roll out in front of me. It's really cool.
Well, I don't know if they still had the theater,
cool
so it's still going then, the Moon River Theater. That's good to hear.
Moon River Theater is still there, and they're mounting shows, and I hope that things continue in a good way.
Great. Well, I just want to give the title once again, the Osmond Chapman Orchestra. There's more where that came from, the Contemporary Big Band Swing Project. Again, it comes out June 4th as we record this, and again, you can already get the single, The Way You Look Tonight, and I guess anywhere, any of the download sites, and the website for club44records.com, right? That's the other place to get it?
That's exactly right. You can go on all the streaming services. They'll be out there, and of course, you can follow us on social media, Osmond Chapman, and that's our website too, osmondchapman.com.
Great, and a nice cover you have there, you and Caleb on it, kind of a almost old school kind of album cover. You don't see that much anymore.
Yeah, and we want to honor, of course, those that paved the way before us and some of our heritage and how we, got the passion for music ourselves. Yeah. And that era is just timeless. And so you can see our smiles on the cover. Those are legit. We have so much fun together. and this music really carries us through it.
No doubt. Well, David Osmond, pleasure talking to you. I look forward to doing it again, and thanks for doing this project because it keeps us interested in what's out there in the big band field. I'm glad you're keeping it going, and hopefully we can talk to you again.
Doug, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. And next time we'll bring Caleb in so you can ask him the hot seat questions, and we really appreciate your support. And everybody listening, we hope you enjoy the album. Let us know what you think. We all engage social media, so give us a follow and give us a listen and share it with your friends. We really appreciate you helping us spread the good word.
Great. Thanks, David.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good day.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.